How you can find your purpose in life. I'm going to make this a very concise, very tangible video to help you do this. So if you watch the whole thing through, there's no doubt you'll be able to find your purpose and actually start to feel more fulfilled in your life. So let's get into it. I want this to be one of the last videos that you watch about finding your purpose because there's so many of them on YouTube. I've talked about them before in the past, but I want to make this very, very tangible for you and easy to follow. So I'm going to break this down into 3 steps. This is essentially exactly what I did and how I'm going about living my life right now. So the first thing that you need to do in order to find your purpose, and most people don't talk about this, is to build that self-awareness. So what I mean is you have to know exactly what your strengths are. Every single person on this planet has innate gifts and abilities that were God-given. This is not a coincidence. This didn't happen by mistake. There are certain things that you're 5%, even 2% better at than some people. And it's your job to find what those talents are so you can create a skill set to leverage into a business, an income stream, a career path, whatever that turns out to be. I happen to be really good with my listening skills. I'm really keen on observing things and being aware. Those talents align with my career choice as a coach because that requires you to be very attentive, very introspective in my clients' lives. So that makes a lot of sense. But how do you go about finding it? Maybe you don't know what your talents are. You don't know what you have. This is why I always promote going on walks alone. You have to spend time in isolation, and not the kind where you're like shutting out society and you're being, standoffish to people. No. You need people in your life. I'm never going to say you don't. Human beings are social creatures. But there comes a time when you have to develop a certain relationship with yourself. You're not going to get that by always constantly being around people. You need your alone time. Give me 30 minutes a day. What I like to do is go on nature walks by myself. I'll go walk around. I don't have any phones, no technology on me, just so I could be at peace and be by myself. If you're constantly stimulated by everything else, dopamine, by distractions, by news, media, outlets, whatever that could be, you're never going to gain your own perspective on things. I've said this a million times. I will say this till the day I die on this channel. You have to spend time by yourself to formulate your own thoughts, your own beliefs, your own opinions and perspectives. Because you spend time alone, you start to realize a lot of things about yourself. And if you ask yourself the right questions, the infinite intelligence that exists within all of us starts to be shown. You can't tap into that intelligence if you're constantly stimulated by other things. Again, I believe this energy is brought to us from God, from the universe, whatever you want to identify this as, but that is kind of another video. We'll get into that in the future, but just keep this in mind. We have these abilities. It's just a matter of you understanding who you are and what you have to offer. The second thing to do to figure out your purpose in life is understanding what your insecurities or past traumas were when you were younger. Most likely, and this is the thing that I've noticed through a lot of just different self-growth and awareness, most of the time our purpose comes from things that we were insecure about or maybe weren't competent enough back when we were younger. Let's say you grew up in a household that was, always surrounded by drugs and by alcohol, by negative vices. You started to turn into that yourself just by natural association of environments. But after a while, you started to get yourself clean. You started to learn how to love yourself, how to treat yourself properly. So now maybe you started a charity foundation. Maybe you ended up getting into a career path that allows you to help others sober up and become clean. That is your purpose in life. But it's because something you were struggling with early on, now you figured it out, you're giving back, and you're contributing to those who were in a similar position that you were in. So my point is, you have to figure out what is something that was really struggling for you. What was something that you were really insecure about? What maybe past traumas did you have? Did you overcome that yourself? That is the first step. For me, it was really tied to masculinity. Didn't have that guidance growing up, didn't have a masculine figure to look up to say, hey, this is how I wanted to live my life. This is how I wanted to go about being a confident man, competent man. Didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that was. Didn't know what I was doing talking to women. Didn't know what I was doing just being confident in myself. I was very insecure with setting boundaries, let people kind of walk all over me. All these things were issues. So once I started to work on them in myself, by looking at online mentors, by looking for guidance online, I started working on this myself. And once I got to a certain point, I figured, hey, I could do this. I want to help others do this too. So that was what the inspiration essentially was for this brand, this channel, The Sophisticated Man. Now I'm in the position to do that for other people. You know, essentially this brand is kind of the idealized version of the man that I want to become. And I'm always striving for it. I'm never going to say I'm perfect or a complete expert in anything. I'm still learning. I'm still going about this journey just like you are. But now that I've learned a lot of things and gained some skill sets and had some experience, I can teach others who are in a similar position that I was in years back. What is something that you had in your life? Maybe it was a negative experience, trauma, some kind of issue in your past that you have overcome. Maybe you didn't even overcome it yet. So that's something you have to realize too. You have to first overcome that in yourself to eventually help others as well. Your purpose and service with others, very, very closely related. I honestly believe your purpose is always tied to something that is serving another person and helping out the world and humanity. That's how I think it's all connected. That's what I think is the divine plan. You know what I mean? So that's just my opinion though. The third and final step that I will say when it comes to finding your purpose in life is you have to be actively curious. And what I mean by that is there's certain things that come about in your life. Let's say you start the self-improvement journey, you're going about your business, you're putting in the work, you're doing things. There's gonna be things that come up that spark your curiosity. Follow that gut feeling, because it's probably gonna lead you towards something that's gonna get you on the path to where you should be, where you're meant to be going, where God intended you to be. I mean, for me, it was finding out what life coaching was. I was looking at research, I was researching different videos, finding different inspirations, and I found someone, Coach Corey Wayne, who I talked about on this channel before, how he got into his journey, how he found out about life coaching. I searched up life coaching because I'd never heard of it. I was very, very curious. And that was the first step that I took in getting into the place where I'm at now. So you have to do some research. Put your feelers out there. Just try different things out, because not everything that's going to come at first is going to be the one you stick with. I got lucky. I happened to fall into something that aligned with my skill sets. It made sense with what I was going through in the past, and it was just something I naturally feel called to do. So it just kind of happened that way for me, but it might not always happen that way for you. It could be different. It could take longer. So don't get discouraged if it isn't the first thing that you find. But you have to just continue having that beginner's mindset and always wanting to search for more information, to search for things that just pique your interest, because that's how you're going to find things that you like. You probably didn't know that your favorite food was chicken parmesan or something, for example, if you didn't try it for the first time. So have that curiosity, keep that going. Don't ever lose that, because a lot of adults these days, they lose that curiosity, or they just don't care enough to pursue that, and they end up getting in a position where they feel like it's too late, or they don't have any time, at least in their mindset, that they can't do anything. So always keep that curiosity. Don't lose that, because it's something that will always guide you if you really listen and tune into it. So really all these things work in combination. Understanding yourself, building that self-awareness by spending time alone, by spending time by yourself. That's how you come up with this. Understanding what your strengths are. What are you naturally good at? And I mean naturally. These are just talents. These are things that are given to you but from birth. And they're not things that you had to develop, things that you're naturally good at. Maybe it's photography. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's playing a sport. You have to figure out what is that thing. Then you develop skill sets around that to fortify those talents. What are some things maybe you're insecure about, or things that you've gone through in the past that were hard, some type of challenge, adversity, traumas? These things usually turn into something that you end up helping others with or create a business around. It is usually the pathway to your purpose in life. Finally, being curious. Where do your interests lie? Where do you naturally find yourself coming back to? This is something to also keep in mind. If you constantly find yourself learning about a subject, or going to events or something, or taking a class, or watching videos about a certain subject or topic, and it's the same thing, you keep coming back to it, there's interest there. Like for me, with coaching, with psychology, with masculine and feminine dynamics, and all these things that I learn, no one has to tell me to learn this stuff. No one has to tell me, hey, go out and study this right now so you become better. I just do it naturally because it's a part of my curiosity. That's what I genuinely want to learn on my own because I have an interest around it. So if you have that same feeling, that's probably tied to something you genuinely feel pulled or called to do. That's pretty much the video, man. Hopefully this all made sense. Hopefully you followed this step by step. That's kind of how I designed the structure of this video. It really helped me get to where I'm at today. You don't have to do it the exact same way, but I recommend doing it very, very closely because this is exactly what I did, not knowing it at the time, but it's kind of what I had to figure out in the last 5 years. So I know it'll help you too if you really are in the position where you want to find what your purpose is, you want to understand more about yourself and how you can elevate yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, in all assets. Your purpose will help you do that. I think every man needs a purpose in life. Every man has one. You know, we're all given a purpose. You just have to find what that is. Your purpose is really everything. It kind of defines you as a man. It is your masculine imperative to follow your purpose. Serve your higher power. I identify that as God, but you can use whatever identifier you want. It's all connected, man. So this stuff is super important and is really, really going to help you develop yourself in a massive way. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment your thoughts down below. Let me know if you like this style of video where we're just chatting. You know, there's not a lot of editing, just me and you and the camera. What kind of topics you want to see more of in the future of this channel. If you like topics about masculinity, lifestyle improvement, and building quality relationships, you're in the right place. Click subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you want to work with me personally, I offer mentorship and coaching to men who want to develop these 3 areas of their life. Make sure you click down below for my links. This is one of those videos where you're going to have to watch it probably a couple times, take some notes on this, really digest what I'm saying here because this shit really helps. And I didn't know this growing up, and I wish I had a video like this that showed me. So I'm going to give it to you. And hopefully this adds value to what you're doing, and you'll be that much closer to finding your purpose in life. So I will see you in the next video, bro. Remember, at the end of the day, everything truly does start with you. Peace out, man.